welcome to this week's edition of What's Driving Token Prices. I'm your host, Katie Talati, Director of Research at Arca. For those joining us for the first time, I'm responsible for analyzing and identifying digital asset and blockchain opportunities for Arca's funds. As part of our research, my team and I examine token prices and the market events that act as catalysts for price change. Based on our research and market events over the past week, here are some notable token price movements and what we think drove these moves. As a reminder, this commentary is not intended to be investment advice, investment research, or an investment recommendation. Please consult your investment professional for your own circumstances. All right, everyone. It has been an action-packed week. We've got the stablecoin House Committee hearing today, I believe, or this morning. Yesterday, I'm sure everybody saw clips of Gary Gensler, chair of the SEC, getting grilled by the House. That was a fun one to rewatch the highlights of. What else have we had going on? It's definitely been busy. But we've got some token stuff going on. So we can kick off this week with Solana. So last week, Solana announced that its Sega phone would be available to the public beginning on May 8th. So currently, a handful of waitlist users have already received their phone, and the early feedback has been super positive. So if you've missed it, the Sega phone is basically Solana announced this a little over a year ago that they were going to have a phone that was kind of more built to be more crypto native. So it runs on Android operating system. But basically, the phone comes preloaded with a bunch of DeFi apps. It's got an actual dApp store for decentralized apps. And it's designed so it can kind of store your cryptographic keys instead of you having to rely on some third-party wallet. So a lot of people keep saying mobile is the thing that's going to be really driving crypto forward, really helping with, kind of proliferation into the masses. And this is maybe a first step. So a lot of people do think, hey, maybe if Solana phone takes off, you might see actually Samsung deciding that they're going to implement, features of the Solana phone into their new versions of phones. And then from there, it's kind of like a bit of a, snowball effect, hopefully. So that was kind of the news on on Solana. The other piece of news that was kind of important to highlight this week is that Solana is also in the process of onboarding decentralized wireless network Helium. So Helium previously ran on its own blockchain network. I don't know if you remember, I've definitely talked about it before. It basically helps people provide internet and people get access to internet maybe where there isn't wireless traditionally available. And they had a proof of work blockchain. So they actually announced a few months ago that they were doing this, but it became finalized today. Helium, they previously ran on their own blockchain. They shut down that blockchain early this week, and they've officially migrated to Solana's network as of today. So expect to potentially see more activity on the Solana blockchain as a result of this. We shall see. Despite all this news, the market has softened a lot today. So Solana is down 3.8% for the week. All right, next up, we got Uniswap. It seems that mobile is the theme this week because last week, Apple's App Store granted full access to the Uniswap mobile app, giving the general public the ability to trade on the decentralized exchange's mobile interface. So previously, the app had only been available to about 10,000 beta users just because Apple has very strict rules for their App Store. So this is full access. Anybody can go and download it today. Go ahead, download it, test it out. Definitely provide the Uniswap developers some feedback there. So the notable thing on the app, though, is that they charge 2.55% when buying crypto using fiat, which is a pretty high fee if you're, used to trading on the exchange with usually anywhere from 30 to 1 basis point of fees charged. So this is kind of, though, in line with what Coinbase charges on their retail mobile app. So they're very clearly going after this retail segment that is going to value ease of use or convenience over necessarily paying a high fee. Despite the new product release last week, trading volumes saw a decline on Uniswap, kind of similar to the rest of the sector. Volumes specifically for them were down about 22% week over week. Uniswap Uniswap still captures about 65%, though, of all DEX volumes in March. And we'll be watching to see what happens with this new release, if that market share grows and or if those volumes grow. With this positive bit of news, Uniswap is still down 50 bips for the week. All right. Next up, we have Chia Network. So Chia Network is a layer one blockchain. It was founded by the BitTorrent creator, Bram Cohen, if you're familiar at all with him and his work. This network, or last week, late last week, they confidentially filed an IPO registration statement with the SEC for their token, which is a huge step. Most projects haven't done this or refuse to do this just because there hasn't been a lot of clarity. But the Chia Network project took this big step last week. So the network has long had ambitions to file for this IPO. They said after raising their Series D round last year of about $61 million that this was their intention. The blockchain in itself, they also position themselves as being the most secure, compliant, and sustainable layer one blockchain. So a lot of this, this move to file the IPO makes a lot of sense. Again, like they will be kind of one of the first ones to do this. Should be interesting. The token also, which hasn't really not gotten a ton of attention, so far, did see a fairly significant bump on the news of this filing. It is up 8.4% for the week. All right. And last up, we have Rocket Pool. So Rocket Pool is the decentralized liquid staking provider. They launched their V2 upgrade on Monday, which enables withdrawals and lowers the threshold for validators to stake. So specifically, if a node operator wants to spin up a new Ethereum validator, they only need to provide 8 ETH compared to the previous amount, which was 16 ETH. So basically it just lowers that, like I said, threshold for validators to kind of come in and start offering their services on Rocket Pool's network. So in general, also like the Ethereum network, the new proof of stake one requires 32 ETH to become a validator. And so potentially with this lowering the threshold from 16 to 8 ETH, it could actually increase the number of validators and TVL on Rocket Pool. So this is something that we're going to be watching now that withdrawals have been enabled on Ethereum, and we have providers like Rocket Pool also enabling their withdrawals and potentially growing their TVL in the face of better liquidity for their products. Rocket Pool has been one of the standout performers in the market this last week. It's up 25%, partially on this news and also partially riding the wave of the ETH Shanghai upgrade. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you this week. I hope you enjoyed our insights. Tune in here again next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific to hear what's driving token prices.